Today we'll be talking about everything you need to know about resumes for master's applications, and you won't believe what people are doing wrong. If you are applying to master's degrees in 2024, stay tuned because I'll be sharing secrets to make sure that your resume stands out. Hi, I'm Philippe Barr. I'm a graduate school admissions consultant and I help people get admitted into their dream grad programs. I get a lot of questions about resumes for graduate school applications. What should be the format? How long should it be? What should I include? What should I not include? Etc. etc. I get a lot of questions about this and I will provide you with all the information you need to stand out from other applicants. But before we even start, one thing that I need to mention and that you should be aware of in terms of what not to do as you move forward with your applications is sending the resume that you already have as part of the applications. If you had the intention of sending your old resume, stop right now. It needs to be tweaked and I'll show you exactly how to do just that. In addition to the statement of purpose, the resume is probably one of the most important component of your application, and it's really important to understand that these two pieces should complement each other. I see a lot of people having statements of purpose that repeat what's already in their resume or that include information that should not be in their statement of purpose, and it usually has to do with the fact that the resume is not necessarily the way it should be. Your resume is probably one of the most important part of your application in addition to the statement of purpose. And as you approach these two very important pieces of your application, it's really important to understand their goals. So the goal of the resume is to connect your past to your target degree, while the goal of your statement of purpose is to connect your target degree to your future. In my opinion, the best way to approach master's degrees applications is to start working on your resume first, understanding that the resume can be used as a sort of skeleton to your overall applications. If you have a really strong resume, then you will have the structure to fill in the gaps between the different bullet points in your statement of purpose. And it could be a very useful tool if you have an interview as part of the admissions process. So working on your resume first, in my opinion, is the best way to be successful because it provides you a way to structure the story that you will tell admissions committees in your statement of purpose and during your interview. Before we even talk about the content of your resume, the first step you should take is go back to each of your target program's websites and make sure that they are requiring a resume and not a CV. The CV and the resume are two different things, two different entities, and today I'll be talking about the resume specifically. If you want more information about building your CV, and that is what is required as part of your master's application, I highly encourage you to take a look at the link in the description box of this video. I have a guide to help you build your CV, and I also provide you with a template that you can use and make things easier for you. The good thing about it is that it's completely free. So when I was talking about the difference between a resume that you use in a job application and one you would use in admissions, it's important to understand that they both fulfill different goals. The resume for job applications is basically designed to demonstrate to hiring committees that you possess the skills, the knowledge, and the experience to be successful in a specific role and that you meet all the requirements set in the job description. When you are applying to a master's degree, what admissions committees are looking for is evidence of your ability to be successful in a rigorous graduate program. So as you can see, these are two different goals, and this is why you need to tweak your resume to make sure that it resonates with admissions committees. The first thing that is common to all resumes, though, is that the first section should be focused on academics, contrary to resumes for job applications that usually list your professional experience first. So what do you include in that education section? Obviously, you want to share what was your major. If you conducted any type of research, you want to highlight this, especially if you're applying to master's degrees that are focused on research. If you have an honors thesis, you should definitely provide them with the title, the name of the director. If you attended conferences or presented at conferences on campus, I would also list them. If you've published anything while you were in undergraduate school, I would definitely mention that as well. You really want to show them that you're prepared to conduct research in your target program. And if you are not applying to a research-focused program, this is where you would list any other type of activities that you've conducted while on campus. You definitely want to list any type of recognition that you've received, whether it's an award, a fellowship, a prize, anything that you've received related to your academic performance should be listed with the date. If you have been involved on campus in clubs, organizations, if you've done some volunteering, you should list all these activities, because this is a great way for you to demonstrate to admissions committees what type of student you are when you are on campus. It is a great indication for them of how you will behave while you will be part of the graduate community. A lot of people have questions about adding their GPA. Should I add it or not as part of the education section? It depends if you have the space or not. Obviously, admissions committees will have access to this information when they take a look at your transcripts, so you can add that. Same thing about prerequisite courses. Some people like to add them in the academic section of their resume. Again, this is something that admissions committees will be able to assess on their own when they look at your transcripts. But if you want to list them and you have the space, go for it. It's a great way for you to demonstrate that you're adequately prepared for their program. Once you've done that, then you will have to present your professional experience, depending if you have a lot of experience or not. It's really important to understand that the way you will frame your professional experience will depend on the degree that you're applying to and will depend on your background. There are basically two types of applicants to master's degrees. There are people who have experience in their target field and people who don't. People who go for master's degrees to grow in their career, and people who want to take a different direction by studying in a specific field. And the way you will frame your professional experience will depend on this very specific position that you find yourself in at the time of application. If you are going for a research-focused program, obviously, whether you have experience or not, you will want to provide them with insights into the skills and the knowledge that you have conducting research. In your work environment, that could mean highlighting any time that you had to collect data, analyze it, present it to groups of people. It's really important to highlight any type of experience that shows that you are well prepared to conduct research. If you're applying to non-research focused master's programs, then it's all about framing your professional experience, whether you have experience in your target field or not. If you don't have experience in the target field, then you need to put the emphasis on transferable skills that you possess that will convince admissions committees that you have what it takes to be successful in their program. In my opinion, the worst thing to do when you are framing your professional experience, if you are in this situation, is to try to hide the fact that you don't necessarily have experience in your target field. In my opinion, it's way better for you to provide them with details about the perspective that you'll be bringing to your target master's degree. Keep in mind that admissions committees are looking to build a class, and they do appreciate people who will bring a different perspective to classroom discussions, etc., etc. So in my opinion, you should use this space in your resume to really shape your perspective and show how relevant it could potentially be in your target degree rather than decreasing its importance. If you have experience in the target field, then it's all about framing your accomplishments and what you have done to provide them with evidence that you already have the skills needed to be successful in your target program. Once you're done doing that, you are far from being done though. The next step is for you to demonstrate how you stand out from other applicants, whether you are applying to a research focused program or not, or whether you have experience in the target field or not. It's really important, especially if you're applying to a highly competitive programs, to differentiate yourself from others. So how do you do this? The best way to do this is to use the bullet points in your resume to highlight the impact that you've had in your line of work. You want to connect the actions that you've taken professionally to specific results, and you also want to measure these results. For example, if you've been working in business and the work that you did was able to increase revenue, then you should mention that it increased revenue and you should provide them with numbers. If you work in operations, for example, and you worked on a project that decreased the cost associated to the production of something, then again, you should not only highlight the fact that you decreased the cost, but you should also provide numbers to give an idea of the scope of the work that you've done in the past. If you were teaching, for example, it's one thing to say, I taught classes. You want to provide them more than that. You want to tell them how many classes, how many students were in your classes. Did you increase enrollment from semester to semester? You really want to show the scope of the work that you have done. If you've managed budgets, for example, give them the number. How big was the budget? If you worked on specific projects, how many people were involved? If you were the leader of certain projects, this is something that definitely needs to be highlighted. Any experience where you showed initiative is a way for you to stand out. If you worked in teams also, you should definitely highlight that, considering that master's degrees often require you to work in teams in the classroom and sometimes outside of the classroom. So if you worked in teams, tell them how many teams were you working with, how many people in each team, etc., etc. You really want to put the emphasis on what makes you stand out from another candidate who might have the same profile as you. It's a great way for you to show admissions committees not only that you're fully equipped to be performing in a rigorous program, but it's also a great way for you to show that you will excel. Once you've outlined your professional experience, then you can provide them with more information about what you have done outside of work and outside of school. If you have any experience volunteering, if you were part of any sort of teams, or you were leading projects on your own outside of the classroom, this is a great way for you to stand out and to show them a bit more about your personality. Again, I suggest putting emphasis on results. If you were able to demonstrate the type of impact that you've had outside of work and outside of the classroom, it is a great addition to your resume. The same thing can be said about intellectual curiosity. If you've taken classes or you've achieved certificates that are not academic in nature, but you did them in your line of work, or you've taken classes on your own, online or not, I would definitely highlight and list all these classes as part of your resume. It is a great way for you to demonstrate your thirst for knowledge, your constant desire to learn new things. It's a great way for you to show that you're always looking for intellectual growth. By the way, if you are in the process of applying to master's degrees and you feel a little lonely, I know it can be isolating. There's a lot of questions that come up with the application process. If you have been working for a few years, you might feel disconnected. I invite you to take a look at a link in the description box of this video. I created this community called the Grad Pathway Hub, where I provide applicants to master's and PhD programs with a platform where they can share their experience, ask questions, provide advice, and gain moral support as they go through the admissions process. It also includes a large database of statements of purpose, resumes, and various documents. So if you are interested in seeing what a winning resume looks like, I invite you to check it out. There's also a library of videos like these to help you with the application process. I also provide members a way to connect with me on a monthly basis so that you can share concerns and ask any type of questions related to your application. It also includes a variety of guides and nifty little tools that can make the application process easier. So if you are interested, please take a look. The link is included in the description box. So now let's talk about formatting. The most common question that I get is, how long should my resume be? In my opinion, if you have between 5 or 10 years work experience, 1 page is sufficient. If you have less than 10 years of experience, I would keep all the information on 1 page. Again, go back to the website to see what is required, but if nothing is specified, I think 1 page is enough. One thing to keep in mind is that admissions committees have a lot to read. They have a lot of applications to look at, especially if their graduate program is highly competitive. So they will appreciate that you put all the information on 1 page. They do appreciate gaining access to the information they're looking for quickly. And in my opinion, being concise and clear in the presentation of your achievement is a great way for you to score extra points and to increase your chances of getting admitted. So in addition to being on 1 page, what font should you use? I usually suggest between 10 and 12. Anything lower than 10 might make it difficult for them to read. You don't want that. So I would use a font between 10 and 12 points. Again, stay away from weird fonts. Go for conservative. As I said, you really want to make their job easier by providing them the information in a clear manner. So stay away from, in addition to funky fonts, any type of colors or weird formatting that would distract them from gaining access to the information that they're looking for. There is no need for you to add pictures or any kind of weird designs. Go for conservative. In my opinion, this is the best way to make the right type of impression. Same thing about organizing information on the page. Provide them with blank spaces. Allow your readers to read. You don't want to overcram your resume on that 1 page. So editing is key. You don't want to force them to dig for information. This will likely annoy them, and you definitely don't want that. I also get a lot of questions from people who apply to research-focused programs and they've contributed to research already. They don't know which style to use. In my opinion, if it is not mentioned anywhere on the website, you can pick either MLA, Chicago, whatever is easier for you. As long as you stick with it throughout your resume, I think you should be good to go. To sum it up, coming up with a resume for master's application requires a bit of work. As you can see, you need to demonstrate how you fit in and also how you stand out. And it's really important for you to tweak the resume that you probably have lying around your office right now to make sure that it meets the requirements of admissions committees. But the good thing about putting this extra work on something that could seem a little trivial will be very handy as you start adding the building blocks of your master's applications. It provides you with a great framework to come up with your story, who you are, and build a narrative so that you can position yourself adequately and stand out from other applicants in your statement of purpose and your interview if there is an interview. So don't hesitate to spend extra time on your resume. In my opinion, this is a great way for you to tell a better story, a more convincing story, and it increases your chances of getting admitted into your dream program. Well, that's all, folks. I hope you feel like you have all the tools in hand to go back to your old resume and tweak it for master's degree applications. If you have questions about your statement of purpose or your personal statement, depending on which document is needed, I invite you to take a look at these videos. If you enjoy the content of this video, press the like button or subscribe. I will be continuing to provide you with more videos related to graduate admissions. Again, thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.